welcome to the Super Good Camping Podcast. My name is Pamela.
I'm Tim.
And we are from supergoodcamping.com. We are here because we're on a mission to inspire other families to enjoy camping adventures such as we have with our kids. Today's guest has over 57 years of canoeing experience and has owned quite a few canoes over these years. And Tim uses that as justification for hiring more. If his pictures are anything to go by, he is an amazing cook. You must check out his Instagram. He loves to camp, preferably traveling by canoe, and has tripped with an impressive collection of outdoor adventurers from here in Ontario. Please welcome Dave Johnstone, a.k.a. the Canoe Collector.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah.
Welcome, youngster.
Thanks for having me aboard.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thanks for coming.
So right out of the gate, just because I think I know the answer, or I know close to the answer, how many canoes have you owned? Why are you the Canoe Collector?
Well, I've had a bunch over since COVID, not so much. Obvious reasons there. But we were sitting here one day, Karen and myself, my wife, and I said, I really want to start considering doing a blog and, sharing some of my adventures and some of my learnings or experiences. And she says, well, how many canoes do you have? And I said, well, I don't know. So anyways, I went through the garage and counted the 4 on the trailer, the 2 hanging from the rafters. I went out in the backyard and I came back in and I said, well, I have 14 on the ground. And she says, well, why don't you just tell the people about your collection? And I went, collection? Canoe Collector, perfect. So that was back in early 2016. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun, a lot of knowledge gained in construction, hull designs, and whatnot. So it's been a lot of fun.
Well, yeah. So, as I said, Tim uses you as justification for it. We need more.
We need more. I only have 2. It's not enough. Just saying. But what possesses you to own that many canoes? What are the? I have to assume there are differences between them all that make them all unique for themselves. To like, you don't need 6 of the same thing.
Can't use 6 at once.
That's very true. Excuse me. I liken the canoes to golf clubs. You can't go the full round of golf with a 9-iron or only with a putter. So there's a lot of different designs, a lot of different purposes for them, and what this canoe is good for doing on that river, you won't want to take that canoe to a different river. So it's they all have their own signature to them, I guess, is the more correct way of placing it.
Okay, well, I, speaking for myself, I currently own 2, excuse me, and I've owned one other one. All 3 different canoes, all 3 paddled quite a bit differently, only I don't necessarily know why. I kind of miss, we had a 17-foot ancient Scott fiberglass that I don't know. It tracked so well. Like probably because I spent the most time in that boat, but I could steer it. I knew exactly what it was going to do. Now we've got a 17-foot Quetico Kevlar, and it's totally different. Like it slides around. It doesn't steer the same way. Like the back end will just kind of slide around a corner as opposed to turning. You know what I mean? And I don't know. Is it a rocker? Because the Scott was a prospector style, right? So is there more rockers? So is that what gives it that? I don't know. It feels like you expect it to steer, and then I get into the lighter boat, totally different animal. I mean, it's fine, and I'll take the weight loss carrying it over my head, but I like the steerability of the old Scott. Big
feature there is with the Scott, you're likely to have what they call a shoe keel. So the hull, I can't do this. There'll be a bump on the bottom of the hull. It comes up, and then the hull comes out. That's what they call a shoe keel, whereas the Quetico is likely a no-keel canoe. So what happens when you're turning the Scott, you're turning the boat and the keel at the same time. So all of that hull space and all of the face on the shoe keel, you're turning that in at the one time. So it's a slower rotation. That boat you don't want to take into whitewater where you've got to eddy out very quickly in order to reassess what you're doing. Whereas the Quetico, you can take one paddle stroke and you'll feel the canoe come around.
Cool. And you're right. Like I did notice that difference, but it's such a shallow keel, I guess. Like the two bumps are just itty bitty in the grand scheme of things. I wouldn't have thought it made that. Like that's a substantial difference between the two boats. Just from that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Cool.
And then what you were saying about rocker, just when you take a look at a canoe, like if you were looking at a canyon, those canoes are. I may stand to be corrected here. I think they're 4-inch rocker, bow and stern. So basically, with the rocking chair, that's what's happening. That's what's happening with the canoe as well. So you've got a very radical pronounce or an upsweep on the bow and the stern. Puts less boat in the water. So again, you have a lot less boat that you have to turn in the water as well. You can spin those things around in a heartbeat.
Cool. So much like I know all the parts, I know what a thwart is, but I don't know anything about how they work. Like I've got a 14-foot key wading, and assuming I get into it and don't just continue on over because it's very reactive.
That has happened.
This has happened probably more times. It's probably happened more times than it hasn't happened for me. But man, you can just boogie all over the place in that thing. Like it takes off like nobody's business because it weighs nothing, I suppose. And yeah, you can turn it on a dime. Like it's mind-boggling.
Yeah. A buddy of mine picked up a 16-foot key, and just a fabulous boat to paddle. But again, no rocker. So when we did the French River, actually, I think the last 3 years consecutive, and Steve he'll try and run them in Kuwaitan, but there's no rocker to that boat at all, and it's terrible to try and get it to eddy or keep it under control if you're doing a ferry at all coming across through the water. So lots of fun, but the 14s, yeah, there's so much tumble home to them. Like you almost feel like you're paddling straight up and down. As
very
opposed
much
to getting out of the boat.
Yeah, I know it because I bought. We have a number of paddles, but I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure how the whole tumble home thing was going to work out. How much I was going to be reaching out and stuff. So I also bought a double blade, like a kayak paddle for it, and then started I tried that. That's cool. That's like Mach 7. Woo, we're out of here. But I tried single blading it, and yeah, it's so easy to get out and over without having to put I was concerned that I was going to have to put my weight way out to the edge in order to get around the corner, and not at all. There's so much curvature to the side of that boat that it's dead easy to single blade it.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. Like a lot of people, you want to keep a lower center of gravity for sure. So you want to stay low in the canoe. But I'll solo my Novacraft Prospector, and Novacraft is a real prospector. It's they're run off of old forms from the Chestnut Canoe Company in New Brunswick. Fabulous boat to paddle. It's just an absolute dream. On a nice calm day, not on a windy day, because you want to change everything. You end up having to move forward and stow gear forward. With the high decks on them, they're just they're a weather vane in a windstorm.
So much to learn. We need to buy more canoes.
Well, sounds like you have to take different ones with you on your trip because it might be a windy day. So you might need to pull out the other canoe.
Yeah, maybe I should think about not portaging so much. Portaging 3 canoes is no fun. If you don't mind me asking, Dave, how did you, aside from simply owning a boatload, a boatload of them. How did you come to be so knowledgeable about canoes? I'm sure I heard you mention working for something. I don't remember. Was it Mech?
Yep.
It was, yeah.
Yep. I was.
How did that come about? And is that what got you into canoes? Were you already into canoes and then went to Mech? How did that all play out?
No, as I said, I started off in a canoe. I was 13 first year. I went into the French River with my cousin, and it was all by canoe. Then we upgraded. Once I got bigger and looked older, and was able to successfully navigate the beer store, we upgraded to an aluminum, and that was a disaster. I laugh. One recollection I have is midweek on a 5-day camping trip, having to draw straws to see who was going to portage the aluminum boat back out so we could go back up to the beer store in Noelville. It's not only older, I think a little smarter, but and I don't. Well, it's not that I don't know. I would not say I'm very knowledgeable about canoes. It's just a lot of information acquired over the years. When you speak to people like Andy Phillips, who ran Composite Creations, brilliant canoes, tough, like crazy tough. He offered me one of his 12-foot shorties, and Liam came with me to pick it up. And as we're pulling the boat out, I said to Liam, I said, "Now be careful with that when you put it." And Andy goes, "Oh, you don't have to be careful with these." Hauled it right out of the back of his pickup truck and threw it out onto the grass on the ground. Like, he stood on them upside down. They're incredibly tough boats. So that's part of the joy when you get to speak to people like him. Mech, sorry, I shouldn't say Mech. MEC, you don't want to offend their culture, right? It was kind of a natural progression as well. I had been a long-distance truck driver stateside for 14 years. Then I started concrete delivery in town, and I just got to the point I've right to here with driving and drivers. Actually, it was our daughter that said, "Why don't you go to MEC and put your name in the hat down there and see what goes?" Because a little bit of experience between boats and camping and cha-cha-cha. And then COVID came along. So, plus MEC had their own issues at that point. So it came to the point.
Yeah, it would have been transitioning from a co-op to a company at that point, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, but that's no longer my issue. I am fully retired now.
Okay. How much camping are you going to do this year then? Or maybe how much tripping are you going to do?
We've already got it in the works. Myself and a canoeing buddy. If you go back on through some of my sites, you'll see two of us. I think it was December 11th. We're out canoeing in a snowstorm up on the by the Big Chute at the Marine Railway. So him and I are planning on doing a trip going into actually the Pickerel River, where it joins in with the French as well, just below 14 Mile Island. So that will be one trip there. One trip that I definitely want to do is to pull out of the West Arm in Nipissing over to the headwaters of the French, and then down to Highway 69, and I'll take out there. A lot of people will say, well, we just continue on down through to Georgian Bay, and probably get comments on that. I don't really like that section of the river. Too busy cottages, fishing boats, that kind of thing. So I'll take my chances and pull out at Highway 69. The other one, and this one takes an awful lot of planning because the logistics are pretty crazy with it, but it's going into Wabakimi, so up to Allenwater Bridge, up through the top end and then back out at Little Caribou. That's kind of a bucket list. That's a dream on that one. So that's what we've got lined up for this year.
Cool. Just to throw it out there for no other reason, we got our eldest is my backcountry partner. And we get, he's 22. So his scheduling is a little bit iffy sometimes, maybe, Yep. So we didn't, we've done the French, the bottom half, Hartley Bay Marina, and then down into Georgian Bay, and then looped our way back up. But we went in September. So windy, which wasn't a ton of fun. We actually got windbound for the first time ever, down in Georgian Bay, but no boats, heard nothing from cottages. It was just super quiet. I think we saw 2 other canoes the entire week. That was it. So it was great. It was wonderful.
Well,
just saying,
funny story.
It's a nice paddle if you do it at the right time, I think. But I've heard the same, everybody saying, it's crazy with the boats and the cottages and all that sort of jazz. So.
Well, high water in the springtime, it's the French River and the 5 Mile Rapid area. Actually, I kind of lost Tom, my cousin, at one point because he said, I don't want to go up there anymore because you had jet skis coming up the rapids and down the rapids, and obviously in high water, but it just that's not backcountry anymore, and lost it. So I guess the reason I go back there still is more nostalgic, and I know exactly where I'm going. After that many years, you better. So that's why I like that section.
Well, yeah, the top section out of Nipissing. Would you say the West Arm? The West.
Yeah.
I'm sure that I've heard our friend Mr. Callan talk about that portion and it being a much better deal than farther south, like down towards Georgian Bay. So.
Yeah.
It's on my list to do at some point too.
Well, so you enjoy some whitewater paddling as well as like flat water?
It's a combination. When you get into the 5 Mile Rapid area, all of them have portages. So if you look at it and you think, that's over my head, and I'll still do that depending on the water levels. Big Parisienne, as you're coming down, there's little Pine Rapids. Big water, it's just basically a swift, but the water boils in there just incredibly. So, Balance, little buddy on the counter. So that section, the Big Pine, is a technical set of rapids. A lot of twists and turn in there. Double rapids, exactly that. High water, it's just a big swift. Blue Chute is just, if you look at anything from Bill Mason, you will see the Blue Chute in there. It's just such a well-defined waterway. It's gorgeous. It's a lot of fun to run regardless of what level you're in. Big Parisienne it's a technical rapid because there's a rock outcrop on River Left at the bottom that wants to push you over to River Right, which is about a 30-foot granite cliff. Not a good spot to reconsider what you're doing. After that, like Kevin says, you stay River Left all the rest of the way down, and actually River Left. Jim Lang and I went River Right because we thought that's exactly what we're going to try, right? Although Kevin had said. And if you look back on some of the photographs there, just absolutely hilarious. We had a small, very, very small lift over to perform, and out in front of the canoe, there's just a little rock that comes out of the water like this. So it will be perfect if you actually slid the canoe across and land on this thing. Unfortunately, that's exactly what I did. I went to slide my hand up the gunnels, and they wouldn't move. So I guess I had my weight off center for sure. And I had Jim behind me. I had Bill Graham out in front of me taking photographs, and the two of them they were in hysterics. I don't know how I stayed in the canoe, but that I did, and everybody stayed dry, and that's the name of the game. So there you go.
So have you done any certifications for whitewater, or you just experience?
No, I've got bruises and cuts and scars and all the rest of it, but no certificate.
That's better than a stinking badge.
That's it.
Oh yeah.
School of Hard Knocks.
Yep.
So just to spin 180 degrees, because you keep talking about pictures, and what I've been seeing in your social media lately is pictures of the kitchen behind you and you making things on that beautiful stove. Has it always been a hobby? Is it a newish thing for you? I'm like, oh, I just ate. I'm starving.
I'm drooling. I'm drooling looking at the pictures.
What a great hobby.
Yeah, you pay for it on that way too. It's what was I this morning? 235.2 pounds. So it doesn't always get you in the end, for sure. But it's. I've never been afraid of the kitchen at all. I think retirement has brought it out where, okay, I'm home, so like if I don't catch Karen on the way out, with her going out the door in the morning, okay, babe, what would you like for dinner? There's a text conversation going back and forth by 9:30 anyways, and I'll sit there and think about, well, and what about this, that, and the other thing, and she'll go, okay, but that's way too much food, so you scale back this. But there's a lot of people doing what we do now, and there's a lot of people doing food. You have to eat anyways, so it's just fun. It's just fun. I'll read a recipe. I rarely follow a recipe, but I'll take that as a guideline, and I'm not alone, eh? So I'll take that as a guide and just run with it. So a lot of fun.
Okay. We're brothers there. So it's exactly. I look at it and go, all right, there's a list of ingredients. I do not look at amounts of anything. I just start throwing stuff in. And the family sticks around and eats it most of the time. So I assume I'm doing okay. And it is. It's fun. It's like, woo. Then the next time it's like, that's different from the last time. I'm not surprised. Same ingredients, no idea how much of what this time, and I might have grabbed something else out of the cupboards too. So cool. Does that transfer? Like, does that follow you into the backcountry? Do you get creative in the backcountry? Do you make more creative meals and dehydrate and take them with you? Like, how does your kitchen go camping with you?
Fairly close. Just trying to think. I think it's 4 years ago now at the Outdoor Adventure Show. I met up with the guys from Kid Products and KIHD, and I'd always thought about cooking, baking, whatever doing in the bush, and I picked up one of their reflector ovens. Absolute game changer. Totally different. So again, I'll go back to the French River trip, and that was 2021. Now I don't have mine on because I can see better. It's I got a new prescription for my glasses. Apparently the prescription's all right, but my arms aren't long enough anymore. Jim and Bill and Steve. Steve is a nutcase. Everything has got to be lightweight. Do this. Taking ramen noodles. Blah blah blah. If he could get his sneakers to stay on without the laces, he dumped. Bill and Jim, both. Those two are, I'll say, artists around a stove and around a campfire to go through. And remind me of somewhere back. I'm going to write it down. But the trip we did in 21, as I say, I normally wear these, And I got a nickname 100 years ago from my cousin, which was Fours, or the Four-Eyed Marvel, and all the rest of it. So this trip I planned, it was 4 guys, 4 days, and that was it. 4 tents, 4 systems, all the way through. Had an absolute riot. We ended it up on the last night out before we hit Highway 69. We had an island site in Target, and we got out on the site, and it was a disaster, an absolute disaster. Pans, shells, toilet paper, mysteries, an absolute disaster. So Jim gets out of the canoe, and the wind had been coming up. So he got out in the canoe, and we're kind of having a look around the site to see what's what, and toss a coin: are we staying, or are we not? Because as I say, the weather was deteriorating. So Jim gets out and he goes, "Hey guys, I've got cell phone signal here." And oh, that's great. And 2 seconds later, "Hey guys, we're under a tornado warning." So we decided we weren't staying there and beetled around into a back bay again for protection. Got set up, and you could see this thing coming across the bay at us. It was just, I have never seen 14 years truck driving through Florida, Georgia, California, blah, blah, blah. I have never seen a storm come in that fast or hard. But we had enough time to get in and get set up, so it was all fun there. But yeah, that reflector oven, Jim, what are you having for dinner? I said, "Well, I'm doing pizza." And I'm putting my oven together, and he's, "Well, what are you having on it?" I said, "I've got my bag of fresh sliced red peppers, my bag of fresh sliced green peppers or yellow peppers, and my fresh onions, and my fresh blah, 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 and a little Tupperware tin of pizza sauce." And he's sitting there looking at it, and so, "What are you having?" So I can't remember what it was. It was a dehydrated meal. But yeah, it's those stoves, game changer.
I'm with you there. We picked one up last year. What did we did pizza. We've had Keith on the show, and he mentioned pizza, and then he started talking about they had a bunch of them were out with Dennis and whatnot, and they did a roast, like a roast beef, and I went, "Really? In the backcountry, you can do it?" So Thomas, our eldest, we took I don't know, it wasn't huge, maybe 2.5 or 3 pound roast, and it's like we're 3 days in and we're making roast beef. It's like, yay! I can do this. This is good.
Yeah, it makes you very pleased that you forgot that can of pork and beans at home.
Yeah. Although, wow. We still do dehydrated meals. We do way more cool stuff, as long as there's not a fire ban for that first few days, that first 3 or 4 days, right? Yeah. So there's going to be a fire ban this year. I'm positive. We haven't had enough snow. Oh, you guys just got snow this week, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we got nothing. We got 20-degree drop of temperature in about 4 hours, I think. It was just insane, but we didn't get any. No snow down here. Cool. So reflector oven makes it good. I guess if you're only doing 4 days, you could probably come pretty close to getting through the 4 days without any dehydrated stuff, right?
Yep. And like if you're doing a chili or anything like that, put it in your freezer bag, freeze it, and stick it in your layers. Actually, it was Steve that taught me that. I used to just have a food barrel, the 60-liter barrel, and just anytime you wanted a cup of coffee, or if you wanted breakfast, or if you wanted dinner, the whole barrel got emptied. And so it's, like I say, it's not a certification, but you do learn. So now, excuse me, all of my meals are done on a daily basis. and Friday's on the bottom, Thursday next, coming up. Do it that way, and your gorp and that kind of thing, you're gonna stay out anyways on top. But yeah, it's you get a couple of bags of frozen chili, and that keeps the rest of your stuff, cool on the way through as well. So that's a science as well, is doing your planning, like with your menu and getting all the meals balanced out and packed. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I suck at making spreadsheets, but I'm happy to steal them from people so that I can do exactly that. I plan the crap out of all of our stuff. It took me a while to figure the same thing out. It's just the kid and I, so we have a 5-gallon Home Depot barrel with a spinny lid that we bought from Amazon. And yeah, we do the same thing. We pack it all in reverse and then jam all the fresh stuff down on top with some frozen bits, whether it's we freeze the steaks and then put them right on top so that they're the first night's meal or whatever. Steak's always pretty amazing in the backcountry too. I don't care if you're frying it in a fry pan because there's a fire ban, but it's still good.
And when you're doing your steaks too, a real good tip, tasty anyways. I do this with my pot roast. When the pot roast is going into the cast iron Dutch oven, I'll lightly rub with an olive oil, and the one I use, we talked about this the other day, the one I use is Terra de Lisa. Really super, super good tasting. It's an extra virgin, and I never understood the term extra virgin. Like, do they put one more virgin in that bottle? But if you rub that, very, very little salt and pepper, and then get a lipped plate, and take your roast beef, and you're going to sprinkle coffee grounds into the bowl or plate, and then take your roast, bring that back in, and a real quick sear on all four sides. Then you're going to flip that into your cast iron pot with a little bit of beef stock and a little bit of red wine, just for the flavoring, and let it go. I do them probably 3 hours before, 3 hours total. So after an hour and a half, you'll flip the beef in the Dutch oven and then put in your potatoes, carrots, and onions from there. And it has to be a fresh twig of rosemary, 2 or 3 on top. Put the lid down. Pretty tasty.
That sounds really good.
Yeah, it's drooling.
It's coming up on lunchtime. I'm hungry. That's excellent. What does the coffee grounds do?
It's just kind of a rub. It'll give a different flavor to the meat. Plus, it also stays in the juice or the gravy as well. So when you're doing it right at the end finish, just put in a little flour or roux and mix that in with the rest of the juices. It's just a little bit of a flavor touch to it.
Cool. All right. I'll replay this as soon as we're done and write that down.
Coffee and wine. How can you go wrong?
How awesome is that? Stay awake so you can get drunk. Yeah, that's it.
One point, remember I said I'm going to write this down?
Yep.
And I did. A lot of people will use, when they're cooking, they'll either use a pan on top, but if you're going to use open flame, or a coal system. How many camping sites have you ever run across and there's a grill over here and here's a grill over here, or here's 12 grills leaned up against this one tree?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Another tip, trick, whatever, no certification, but I've done it, is, but I'll take fire iron. So, like maybe a 3/8 chunk of angle iron, take 2 of them, okay, and obviously they're going to be dirty. Obviously you can find an old bicycle inner tube somewhere that's not being used, so tie a knot in the one end, slide your fire irons inside the inner tube, fold it back over and a bungee around that, and it's done. But the good thing with the fire iron is your coffee pot is going to be different diameter than your saucepan. So when your fire irons are up like this, you can put your coffee pot here and your saucepan down the bottom, anywhere you want. So you can angle them in that way, and they stay clean. They work well. So
that's an excellent idea. We have done the dollar store grill. I don't know why it's the same deal. I would have said 14 leaning against the tree, but yeah, you don't. If you need a grill, you don't need to take one with you. But that was always I would have to go and do my best to scrub the black off of it, because it's going to get all over whatever else is in that pack. So brilliant. Although now I just went and bought a fairly ridiculously expensive titanium one from Solic 46, right?
okay.
It's cool though, just for the cool factor.
Complete with a carbon fiber case?
Yes, very much so. It was at the Outdoor Adventure Show, and I was trying so hard to get out of there without buying anything. And then somebody was giving it away. It might have been Camper Christina. I don't remember. Somebody was giving it away as one of their talk or presentation prizes. And I went, oh, I have to go get that now. And they only had the demo one left, no case. So we ended up coordinating with Steve and Thomas, our eldest, went down, and they're just, I don't know, 15 minutes away. Their shop is 15 minutes away from us here.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, carbon fiber tube, and it's pretty cool. I will give it that, like the way that it snaps together and stuff, and it weighs nothing. So
And it holds 25 pounds.
apparently,
So
yes.
put a lot of meat on it.
That's crazy.
I watched a show on YouTube when he was highlighting all of the different equipment, and just that's some serious smarts behind that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've looked at his products, and I saw his episode when he was on Dennis's show on Canoe Hound, and just listening to him, like how his thought process for how to redesign something that has been redesigned. Like there is no more redesign. And then you look at it and you go, holy crap, there is more redesign. Like that's amazing. So strong, so light, so well thought out. Just like, dude, you rock.
Yeah. He's a smart cookie, that one.
Yep. Yeah, he is. He is. Okay, well, cool. I like that. I like the bicycle tube idea too. I spent so many years with black crap all over my kitchen bag. Like, just, man, come on.
Well, in the cleaner, you're walking all over the cleaner anyways, because if you pick up any of that moss and lichen off of the rocks, you can just give that a scrub and boom.
Sweet.
All right.
Sounds good.
That's it for us for today. Thank you so much to David Johnstone from the Canoe Collector. Why can't I say that?
I don't know.
That Canoe Collector. Check him out. He's on Instagram. He's on all of the social media things. And check out his blog. I actually read a few of his blog posts, and they're quite entertaining.
Yes, very much.
And do check out us. We are on all the things too. We're at supergoodcamping.com. And if you want to email us, we are hi@supergoodcamping.com. And we'll talk to you again soon.